What's up, gals? Thanks for stopping by my channel, Wild Mama. My name is Allison Bingham, and this is my 4-month-old son, Darrow. So today I want to talk to you ladies, and hopefully some gentlemen as well, about some baby registry essentials. Some of these I personally forgot to register for. Other ones I was totally against. And then the last ones I had no idea, did not know that I would need them. So these are absolute must-haves. Like, I do not know what I would have done in certain times if I did not have these. So it's 5 simple ones. These are after your essentials, your clothes, your standard pacifiers, bottles, all things like that. So these are the things that you might not think that you need to register for, or for whatever reason you might not want to register for some of these. If I did not have these things before, these are all things that I ended up purchasing after my son was born, and really wish that I had either known about them before or had purchased them beforehand, because we had some restless nights and some upset days that totally could have been avoided if I had just gotten these things beforehand. All right, so I'm gonna do these in the order of how I used them or how I needed them. So the very first thing is one of these. So this is an exercise ball. This is the 75 centimeter one. Okay, so I didn't actually register for this, nor did I purchase it. My mom actually brought this over. It was here when I went into labor. So I don't know if she brought it when she came over to help me out with labor, or I think she might have brought it before, because these are recommended whenever you go into labor. And then just also sitting was so uncomfortable for me. Okay, so obviously I used that when I went into labor. I bounced on it, I sat on it, I did whatever. After my son was born though, you guys, I kid you not, there were times where he would inconsolable crying. Actually, there was one time in particular, he was crying for, I want to say it was 3 to 4 hours. He intermittently would stop and he would be happy for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and then he would start back up again. Sitting on this bouncing ball with him, I kid you, like, it was the strangest thing. He always wanted to throw his head back. He would throw his head back and just sob. Sitting on this and allowing him to put his head back like that and just tiny little bounces was the only thing that would get him to stop crying. To this day, there are still times where rocking, holding him in my arms and rocking, bouncing, jiggling, driving in a car, putting him in a contraption, nothing will work. This is the only thing that he seems to like sometimes. So aside from the benefits you're gonna get while you're pregnant and when you go into labor, highly recommended. I'm actually gonna purchase this for a girlfriend of mine who is currently pregnant, because I think it's going to be a game changer for her. And it was something that I never would have considered. It was in our room and he wouldn't stop crying that one time, and I don't know why, I just thought to bring it in his room and sit on it, and sure enough, it was the only thing that made him stop crying for short periods of time. You guys who have new babies and they won't stop crying, you know how stressful that is and how heartbreaking it is also, because they can't talk to you like that, it's their only form of communication. So super highly recommend getting one of those. Look, honey. Is that you? Are you looking at you? Yeah. This is the second thing that I highly recommend getting. Does not have to be that specific product, although I really like that one, and I think it was like 30 or 40 bucks. Maybe it wasn't expensive at all. The point is something that vibrates, swings, rocks, plays music, whatever. So it actually comes with a little attachment piece on the top of it, which I have taken off. My son didn't really seem into that one, and we cannot for the life of us figure out how you get the little thing in the middle to play music. So we have something else that has little twisty things on it, so you can put it on a stroller, or oh, always wants to be held, my little held baby. Point being, something that has some sort of motion. I was like vehemently against getting any sort of contraption that he was gonna sit in. It's one of those irrational mom paranoia things that I have. I don't want him to get a flat head. I'm like really freaking paranoid about it. So I didn't want him put into any of those things, because that's typically how babies get them, is from sitting down a lot or laying down a lot. There was also a podcast that I listened to with a woman named Eliza Parker, who's actually local in Austin, and she talks about baby-led motor development, and she talks a lot about the contraptions that we put children in and how detrimental it is for them, for their development. One area might be exercising them in one way, but it's actually hindering development in other ways by placing them in that. So I was just really against getting anything like that. So I did not register for a single thing that moves. No swing, no rocker, no nothing. The only thing that we have is a rocking chair. It's a rocker recliner in his room that I got, and that's great. I have a baby that always wants to be held. Always wants to be held. And by no means I'm very thankful for that because of my paranoia about his flat head. If he's down for too long, he will start to cry. So, and that's usually like 15 minutes, but that's long enough for me. So the thing is that I didn't want to put him in those things ever, but I hadn't considered what that would mean with a baby who always wants to be held, because there are times where I need to go to the bathroom or I need to hop in the shower for a minute and there's nobody else that's home and the baby's awake and he's not taking naps, or we don't do baby monitors in our house. We just do eyes and ears, and there are times where he needs to be in something because I don't want to shower while he's asleep because then I can't hear him. So for a multitude of reasons, we ended up getting that, and it has been a huge game changer. Ooh, you're drooling all over me, you little drool monster. So I use that in instances when I cannot hold him. So if I'm cooking something that I don't feel comfortable baby wearing him, or if I need to shower, obviously when I can't baby wear him, or if I have to dry my hair. So it's not a ton of instances, but there are enough that thing has really helped me out. Definitely invest in something that vibrates or rocks or swings or whatever. We bought an auto rock and play before we ever bought that, and at first he was not having that at all. So we ended up getting this, which was like a third of the price. I would say go with something that vibrates first, and then after that, if that doesn't work, you can try something that swings. Sometimes there's trial and error. Babies are particular. They usually don't like what you buy them at first. The third thing that I strongly recommend that you register for is one of these. So there's Wubbanub. This is the Dr. Brown's Lovey. Is that your lion? I personally like this one a lot better because he does not always like the Wubbanub pacifier that comes with it. Number one. Number two, Wubbanubs are kind of expensive. They're like $15. It's just one giant piece. So whenever it gets dirty or if it falls on the ground or whatnot, I generally will wash it in the washing machine. So I ended up getting this guy because you can attach, what I liked about it is that you could attach your own pacifier to it. And these are the Sutton pacifiers, which I love them. They're the only ones that we actually use for him. So I took off the old ones and I put those on there. But the benefit of this guy is that when your baby goes to sleep and they start to let go, they kind of let their latch go when they are on the pacifier, the stuffed animal prevents it from actually falling all of the way off. So if they happen to wake up, which all humans do, we wake up multiple times throughout the night. The difference between babies and adults is that we know how to go back to sleep very easily. So babies don't have that mechanism quite yet. So what will happen is that they will wake up, and if they can't reattach on the pacifier and like immediately soothe themselves, they will get really upset. If the pacifier is allowed to fall, which will happen without this, then you have an upset baby when they're sleeping, and you have to go back in there sometimes and rock them and do whatever. And I don't personally know what your sleep training or non-sleep training philosophies are, but we do not sleep train in this house. So that means if he wakes up and he's upset and needs to be soothed, then I have to go back in there and I have to rock him again, which it's a very, very short period of time that I'm gonna have to do that with him, in the grand scheme of things. But if I had an hour to get myself ready or make food or work that got interrupted because I had to go in there simply because a freaking pacifier fell out of his mouth, starting to lose his patience, so I'm going to try and power through this. Next thing is my baby Maggiorin carrier. I registered for the Catan or Catan, however you pronounce it. I also registered for the Ergo Baby. The Catan I really like. The thing about it though is that he liked to pull his head out of the Catan. So the way the Catan works is that it goes in across over your shoulders, and then there's an extra support piece that you wrap around yourself. So the baby's head, unless they're actually tucked in on the side, if they move to the center, your baby's head's not supported, so you have to support it with their head. And when they're that little, that makes it kind of difficult. adult, he liked to throw his head back, like I mentioned earlier. So what would end up happening is I'm like holding his head with one hand that's out of the carrier and trying to do stuff with the other hand. So while the K-Tan was really nice because he napped in that one really well, it helped, his feet were all scrunched up in it, which they like when they're newborns. It was not nice in a sense of me actually trying to get things done. And I didn't feel like it was, it just, I got a little nervous when I was trying to do things, especially if I was really trying to do things without my hands, because he just didn't really stick to either side all the time. He would get uncomfortable, or he just didn't like it. So I would try and put him in the Ergo Baby. To this day, he just does not like that carrier. I put him in it and he starts to cry. I don't know why or what the deal is, but he just does. So we're saving that one for when he's older. So hopefully he likes it then whenever we can back wear or whatnot. I also personally don't like the Ergo because it's really bulky and I'm a small person. I'm 5 feet tall and 3/4. It wraps around the waist, so like it goes right at your hips. So another thing that I didn't like about that is that if I'm baby wearing and I have to go pee, I have to take everything off and put him down, go potty, and then come back and put everything back on. And like I mentioned before, I have a baby who always wants to be held. So if I go put him down, I mean, literally he will start crying like the second I put him down. So I actually went on a hike with one of my girlfriends and she was wearing her baby Maggiorin. I have the mini, by the way. It's just like the original. It just comes in different fabrics. And my Ergo and my K-Tan were both black and I really wanted something that was a little bit lighter. So I went with the mini. The fabric is a little bit different too. It's really soft and plush. So anywho, when we got home, I decided I was going to order one because she raved about it and said that her son loves it. And sure enough, ever since I have gotten that carrier, he lets me baby wear all day long. And I love that because that's really what I want to do, is be able to baby wear. Also, it is super easy to get on and off. I keep it attached here and here. So all I have to do is slip it on this shoulder, and then this shoulder, and then click it in the front, literally, and that's it. And so, oh my goodness. And then the baby goes 1 foot in here. This comes up and snaps in place. This locks here, this locks here. 1, you can do this by yourself, and 2, it's just really freaking easy. I don't know how there's any other carrier that was ever invented. Like, this is just amazing. Aside from maybe when your baby outgrows this. And I want to say this is 25 pounds. So best carrier. If you have registered for other carriers, at least register for this one, or maybe take one of those off and get this. Also price wise, the original is, I think it's 69, maybe 79. This one was 89, and most carriers out there, except like the K-Tan or like the wraps and stuff, those are a little less expensive, but an actual carrier like a Boba or an Ergo Baby, things like that, they're a lot more expensive, and they're useful and they're beneficial when your baby weighs a lot more. But I mean, he's not gonna be 25 pounds until he's, I mean, I'll probably get 1.5 years of use out of this because I have a smaller baby. Okay, the final thing, I'm saving the best for last because that's the way I am. I did register for this, but I have to tell you guys about this. This is a traveling sound machine. It is made by Roam, like it roams. So Dome is the larger one. So this actually came in a set, and I did register for this because we are huge sound machine white noise people when we sleep. We have 2 of them in our master bedroom. We have 2 of them in his room, the full-size ones. Grandma has one in her room, and then Colin has one in his office. And he also has, an extra bed in his office so that if on nights when he's a little bit too loud, he'll go in there. So that's why we keep one in there. We used to keep 3 in our master bedroom. 1, they're magnificent at helping you sleep. And then 2, our house echoes like crazy. So it's like you freaking clink silverware on a dish and you wake up. It's so annoying. I get asked about this all the time when I go places. That's what it sounds like. There's also different sounds. This is usually the sound I keep it on for him. This is like waves or something, rain maybe, and then just basic white noise. So I attach this to his car seat, and anytime I go anywhere, especially if I know that he needs to sleep, I turn this on. It also just calms him down. So he doesn't really like to be put in his car seat. I will put that on and give him a pacifier to kind of soothe him. And then a lot of times he'll end up falling asleep in the car. But I literally get asked about that all of the time, like everywhere that I go. His aunt, she has one for herself at home. She went out and bought one of these so that she can travel with it. When you go places and it's loud, for example, you live in Austin, Texas, and you want to go to the Domain, and you park your car in a garage and you get out, you're gonna hear people's car horns honking. You're looking at me. Hi. You're gonna hear people talking on their phones. You're gonna hear all sorts of stuff. And yes, most babies can sleep through a lot of stuff. And you looking at me. Hi. Yes. You know, you go into a loud restaurant, whatever it is, when you have a baby that is asleep, I'm like really big about don't wake up my baby, and also I will never wake up my baby. Sleep is just so important. We really don't know a lot about sleep. We really don't know why we need it. We know parts of what it does, but we still don't understand lots about it. For me, it's just, this was absolutely crucial to get because you go places a lot with your baby and they sleep a lot, especially in the beginning. Get one of these, even if you just get it for yourself for when you travel. Legitimate. All right, y'all. So those are 5 Registry essentials that you absolutely cannot live without. Please take my word for it. Buy them before your baby comes. They will make your life so much easier. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And as always, if there's anything you guys want to see, drop it in the comments below. Later.